think I'd miss you even if we never met. Let us know where you've seen it in the comments down below, but for now, let's get on with the show. Today, welcome to Ask the Camera Guy. My name is Steven, that's the camera guy, and today we're going to be talking about why weddings are more expensive than photo shoots. I'm not doing it any different to that, I'm sorry. Steven! Alright, let's go. Hi guys, welcome to Ask the Camera Guy. My name is Steven, the camera guy, and today we're going to be talking about why weddings are more expensive than photo shoots. So the question of today is, why are weddings more expensive than photo shoots? And we're going to look at the differences between a normal regular photo shoot and a wedding. And why is it that, you know, we would tend to charge more, not just us, but most photography companies would tend to charge more for a wedding than for a normal, regular, you know, portrait shoot. When it comes to weddings, we usually attend the rehearsals for weddings. Attending those rehearsals, again, it's a cost. It's a cost to actually go to the rehearsals, and it's a cost to actually check up on the bride. I tend to find that it's really, really important to attend rehearsals. Attending rehearsals gets you familiarized with the people that you're going to be shooting. It gets you a chance to meet the bride's family, the groom's family, people you might not normally have seen before. But you ask, maybe there are no rehearsals. If there are no rehearsals, then it would be good for you to get pictures of wedding parties, close friends and family. If you could ask the bride and groom to send you a few pictures of their family so that you could be familiarized with the faces. Because the last thing you want to do is go to a wedding and not be getting the faces of the people that matter most. So that's one thing. So weddings usually take a lot more prep work, especially in understanding exactly what the shoot is going to be about. So let's talk about the amount of images. Now, usually when we go to a photo shoot, we would have like a single 1 hour session. Sometimes it goes for 2. If it's a commercial shoot, it's different. And I want to just specify that I'm talking about photo shoots, like personal photo shoots. Like if you want just to have a photo shoot for a special occasion or just because you want to have one. Those photo shoots usually are classed a lot different. Usually they last for about an hour, and you go, we shoot for about an hour. It's usually a single location. And with that, it's not really a complex event. When it comes to the amount of images that we take for that, we might take anywhere from 100 to 200 images for a singular photo shoot of 1 hour. Now, let's compare that to a wedding that we did recently, where we had 2.5 hours to shoot a wedding, and we took 850 images on average each. So I took about 850 images, and my second shooter took about 900 images. So in that very general spectrum, there we have over 1,800 images that we would have to sort through to find the best ones and to present those to the client. Now it's weird because when you have all of those images, you have to actually spend time to sit down, sift through, and see which ones are the best. And that takes way more time than sorting through 150 or 100 images. So with that complexity of time. Now the question might be, why would you take that much images in 2.5 hours? The thing is, when it comes to weddings, you're trying to catch as much moments as possible, especially when the ceremony is happening or the reception. There's not like a stop and go flow like a photo shoot where it would be like, okay, in every shot, let's just pose this person and do this and do that and do this and do that. No, it's usually, you have to be on the fly and you have to be always on the ball ready to capture an image. And with that comes a lot more images, because if I'm going to take pictures, I'm not going to just take one shot of a moment. I'm going to try to take a series of shots in that moment. It really racks up the amount of photos that you take per hour. Like I could take anywhere from 300 to 450 images in 1 hour at a wedding, especially if the wedding is really dynamic, or especially if there's a lot of people at the wedding, or there's a lot of things happening at the wedding. I easily could rack up 300 images per hour. So that contributes again to the cost as to why it's so different to do a wedding. Let's talk about resale potential. Resale potential for a wedding is really, really, really small. The wedding images that you take are usually very personal images, and reselling those images might not constitute well for you. I mean, there are some sites, for example, there are some restock sites that sell wedding images, usually for stock purposes. Now, it might be a little unethical for you to resell somebody's personal images. It's not that the images are not yours, but it just might be a little unethical for business purposes to just up and resell some images of one of your clients getting married, especially when this holds so much sentimental value. So the potential for reselling wedding images is very, very small. Yes, we could use the images to promote ourselves, or we could use them on the site and try to get more people involved and more people interested in our wedding photography. But beyond that, that's not necessarily resale value, but it's more promotional value. So when we do weddings, we usually have to charge for it more or less like you're gonna own these images. More or less, you don't own them, but more or less you're gonna own these images for the rest of our time, and we're not gonna be able to resell them or use them for much of anything else. Okay, so when it comes to landscape images, we don't have the same problem with reselling. Reselling landscape images is relatively easy. I mean, if you have a picture of Brimstone Hill or you have a picture of a nice beach or something, you could resell that. You could print it in a portrait, you could put it in a book, you could resell it on a stock site. Even if you have persons in the image, if you have captured the image and there are people in it, usually they're not recognizable, so you don't have that struggle of having to have like a, you know, a release form signed or something like that, or contractual arrangement with them. If you can't recognize who they are, you know, it's a public, once it's a public place and you're not sneaking into somebody's place to take landscape images. I see you stalkers. Once it's not that, you're fine. You could resell this as much as you want, but you just don't have that same resaleability with wedding images. When it comes to doing wedding photography, you're basically paying the photographer to have enough experience to get it right the very first time, to have success one time, no do-overs. All right. Even when we do commercial shoots, you could generally recreate certain sets, or even have a secondary shoot for something that you've already done. That is a possibility because it's not a one-time. It's usually not a one-time event. Yes, it might be costly. Yes, it might be, you know, extremely demanding for you to do over certain shoots. But the mere fact is that you can. When people fly in from all over the place and you have family members who probably are only going to be here for 2 days, like having a wedding again so that you could get these photographs is generally a no-no. If you don't have the photos, then you generally don't have the photos. So paying a photographer to be dependable and to be experienced and efficient enough to get the images that you want on the day usually is of a higher cost and a higher value. Also, when it comes to just one other ad hoc thing, when it comes to wedding images, they mean a lot to the people who are in them. Like, wedding images don't get old, they don't get stale, they don't lose their vibrance, they don't lose their flavor, they don't lose anything. Like 10 years from now, they would get a resurgence because somebody would share them with the younger generation, share them with a family member, share them with somebody who wasn't there at the wedding, share them with friends. So they don't have like that sort of timeline where, okay, we shot some commercial images and a year down the line they might not be relevant anymore. Even sometimes 2 weeks down the line they might not be relevant anymore. But weddings are one-time affairs. They're really one-time events, and the pictures that you take at that event will be how people remember that event. You know, people usually forget the value of photography until they don't have proper photographs. I think most people who don't have good photographs of their wedding really regret not having a good photographer, or not having a photographer that could do the job adequately enough to get it right the first time. Alright, so guys, that's our show. Just a few things about the cost of wedding photography. Some of you might disagree, some of you might agree. Again, you could hit us down in the comments if you want. And I would love if you guys share and like this video and subscribe to this channel. That's a lot of hand. But you could also click on the bell down below and get notifications from us. Remember, we love you guys here at Ask the Camera Guy. And peace, no gang signs. Secret confession, I like to use the virtual toilet.